Dorsey. And this is halftime music entitled Dance, Dance, Dance.
Rhythm of the night.
In the second half, we're tied. Auburn 17, Florida State 17. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you from Jordan-Hare Stadium. Possible return here. It's Keith Ross, the freshman, number 20. Gets a good block. And running room. Ran into his own player, or he might have broken it. Out to the 39-yard line goes the freshman. What a great return that is. Richard Manry makes the tackle. And an excellent return by the freshman, number 20, Keith Ross, is out of Newberry, Florida. There are the halftime statistics. Oh, my, and we're opening up just like we started. You can see the total yardage already, 227 and 206. They have 433. There's a chance they'll break 1,000 in total. Of course, FSU's getting it done in the air. Auburn getting it done on the ground. 95 yards of the rushing yardage has come from Bo Jackson of Auburn. First and 10 Seminoles way out here to the 39-yard line. Fullback Cletus Jones, penalty markers down on the first play from the line of scrimmage. Penalty marker could be against Auburn. It looked like freshman Tracy Rocker from Atlanta may have jumped off sides. Man in the white hat, referee Bill Goss.
We saw those halftime statistics. Well-balanced offense from both sides, right? 6 yards of passing for Auburn. And not much rushing for Florida State. I think 51 yards. There's McManus having a problem with dizzy spells.
As you can see, looks like he's in some pain. He's had 2 concussions this year, and they check his blood pressure and his head and his condition after every practice. So they don't want to take any chances with this young man, a sophomore. And Eric Thomas came in to replace him midway through the first half. Thomas went 3 out of 7 for 94 yards. It's second down 9. And you saw the penalty was against Florida State for illegal procedure. Into the backfield, number 44, Chuck Wells. Not much going. Opening with a penalty like that can sometimes take the fire out of the excellent kickoff return.
Ben McCurdy, the hard-nosed Auburn linebacker, not the bell cow type of linebacker that they've had here in the past, but a tremendously aggressive upfield player that squeezes the most out of his ability. Those first half possessions, where you started.
You see that Florida State had 2 missed field goals in that half that could haunt them as they're tied at 17. It's picked off. Number 3, Kevin Porter. It went right through the hands of 88 Hassan Jones. It'll be Auburn ball at the 39-yard line. Make it the 38-yard line of the Tigers. Right through the hands. You won't see this much.
No question about it. Hassan Jones, one of the most sure-handed receivers in the country, and this is a vulnerable area of Auburn's defense. You see no one around him. He can't make the catch, and Porter, trailing him in, comes up with the interception.
Both teams have 1 interception now.
Robinson rushing from the outside, can't get there to put the pressure. Just barely gets there and does put Thomas on the ground.
Here's Bo Jackson hit in the backfield. This time he cannot break the tackle. No gain. Garth Jacks with the tackle, number 84. Bo Jackson with 95 yards in the first half. He has 4 200-yard games this year. It's going to be tough getting 105 or more here in the second half against Florida State. We'll see what that Heisman candidate can do.
The tip ball down the middle can always hurt you because you've got that defense in depth there. Whereas if he'd have missed it on the sidelines, Bob, wouldn't have amounted to anything.
Second down, a little more than 10, actually, from the 38-yard line. Jackson again. This time a yard or 2, still shy of the 40. Tackled by 71 Todd Stroud. So it's Jackson to the right, Jackson up the middle for the first couple of plays here. And you're going to see that happen a lot with this I-formation Auburn offense. But remember that it only takes a couple of those to break. And with Bo Jackson, it can happen.
No question about it.
Very warm day in Auburn, 85 degrees at kickoff. Sun poking through partly cloudy skies. 72,169, packed house. About 10,000 folks up from Tallahassee on 3rd down 8. Pat Washington. It's complete. Close to the first down. They may not get it. It's Lawyer Tillman, a freshman, who made the reception. Let's see where they spot the ball. He fell down and may not have it. They probably have to bring the sticks in.
He was locked up man-to-man underneath with Martin Mayhew of Florida State.
They're going to bring in the sticks from the far side of the field. It's 17-17. The biggest lack of scoring for Florida State has been something, frankly, we would not have expected, and that's 2 missed field goals by their outstanding kicker, Derek Schmidt. Florida State has amassed a little bit more yardage in the game than Auburn. Auburn has controlled the ball a little bit more. It is short of the first down. We talked about that 72,169 crowd at Jordan-Hare Stadium. From the loveliest village on the plain, Auburn, Alabama. Very hospitable folks here. Sports Information Director David Housel with his staff, Mike Hubbard, John Lewandowski, Associate Athletic Director Oval James and his staff, and the folks at Auburn just treat us so nice. We love to visit this place. And, of course, we don't mind a great football game either.
Right. Had another great dinner last night at the Barringtons at the gazebo.
While we did research, 4th and short. Jackson gets a first down, I believe. It'll be close. Seminoles saying they have the ball, but we'll just let them unstack it. It's tough to stop Auburn when they go into that power formation with A.G. Ware and Bo Jackson, that great offensive line. To keep them from getting about a foot is virtually impossible.
But just to show you what type of game this is and how valuable each coach views a possession, you don't usually go for it in the first possession of the second half with the score tied on your side of the 50-yard line. That's not a normal call, but I'm sure that Pat felt like he needs to make some things happen and tries to do it with Bo Jackson. First down.
That's 3 fourth down conversions.
The risk pays off.
Auburn 3 out of 3 on 4th down conversions today. Oh my.
If you remember in that the last drive they made last year, they converted a 4th down situation in their final drive. The year before that, they converted 2 4th down situations in their final drive.
11:43 to go, 3rd quarter. Washington to throw. Has time. Has man, too. It's complete for 14, Freddie Wagan. Down to the 28-yard line. Auburn putting the ball in the air. Now Washington 3 out of 6 on the day. He went 0 for 3. At one point in the midway of the 2nd quarter, Auburn had not gained a yard in the air, but they're changing that now.
He curls, and watch, you'll see the free safety, Greg Newell, drifting over there, lost total contact with the football, could have made an interception. I think Mayhew expecting help on the inside. Wagan makes the reception. Nice throw by Pat Washington.
It's first down, 10 Auburn at the 28-yard line of Florida State, tied 17-17. First third of the 3rd quarter. Not much that time. So about the 26-yard line goes fullback Tommy Agee. Fred Jones, 55, with his 6th tackle of the day.
You know, Bob, if Auburn starts to mix in that play pass, Florida State's going to have a lot of trouble on defense. They're having trouble enough stopping him when they're not throwing the ball, when they know they're going to run. And if they can effectively mix in that play pass, that's just going to be a big headache for Mickey Andrews.
2nd down 8 at the 26-yard line. Here's the pure classic I formation. Washington throwing out of it. It is complete to the 18-yard line. Close to a first down. That is Trey Gaines, the flanker, number 19, with a reception. Covered by Deion Sanders, the freshman quarterback for the Seminoles.
Nice throw here by Washington. Puts it right on the money because Deion Sanders is right in Gaines' back pocket.
They're bringing in the sticks again. They're always close, it seems.
Gaines is another one of those athletes that isn't really gifted, but has a tremendous amount of desire and courage and intensity.
You know, he's from Cairo, Georgia. Trey Gaines, you see the mark there, first down. Trey Gaines grew up as a big Florida State University fan. And watched the Seminoles all during his childhood, was recruited here to Auburn, and he always gets pumped playing against the Seminoles now. And Stan Shiver, a safety from Tifton, Florida State's a cousin of his, so it's a real family, local, backyard ball game for the man who just caught that pass, Trey Gaines. It's first down, 10 Auburn. They're at the 17 of Florida State. Here's number 30, number 30, Tommy Agee, to the 11. Jones and Newell combining on the stop for Florida State. These two teams are playing pure football based on Auburn running it and Florida State throwing it, Tim.
That's correct. And I've just really always been impressed by Agee as Pat Dye looks on. He's going to be a fullback in the pros, I think, a lot like Andre Franklin. Blocked a lot. They talked a lot about the tailback at Nebraska, but when he gets the chance to carry it, he always produces.
Oh, Brett Fullwood. What a run to the 1-yard line. Brett Fullwood goes 10 yards with superb effort.
Just running skill here. Searles pulling. Gets a couple of blocks, but now Fullwood's taking it on. Newell misses again. They try to drag him down from behind, but look at that drive and enthusiasm.
And Greg Newell, who is really part of the heart and soul of the defensive secondary in terms of hitting and tackling, is having a struggling day. He is not playing as well as he usually does.
He's not wrapping up after he makes contact, Bob.
First and goal. Fullwood flags down. Fullwood scores. Touchdown. Penalty marker on the play. Offsides. Seminoles. It'll count. Auburn takes the lead. Auburn was up front 7-0. Then it was 7-7. Then it was 14-7. Then they were down 17-14, and now they take the lead.
He's going after it, head to head. Fullwood knifes it into the end zone.
We have 9:44 to go in the third quarter for Brent Fullwood. That was his third touchdown of the year. Number 2, Chris Johnson, in for the point after touchdown attempt. It's good. Auburn 24, Florida State 17. 9:44 remaining in the third quarter.
Unmistakably hot, unmistakably cool, unmistakably sharp, unmistakably smooth, unmistakably right, down to the last detail. Tonight is unmistakably steak and ale.
To Jim Peck, who had 5 business lunches in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the comforts of perks.
I've earned them.
To Denise Cresta, who had to preview 400 patterns of plaid, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
I've earned it.
And to Ron Barry, who had to be in 3 cities at the same time, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles. He's earned it.
We make you feel like flying.
Minnesota with the ball on its own 39-yard line. Quarterback Ricky Foggy back to pass. Finds Kevin Starks, who makes a great reception. Then turns around and goes all the way for the touchdown. Minnesota having an easy time with the Wildcats 21-3.
So the Auburn Tigers scored the first touchdown against FSU in the second half this season. Previously, the Seminoles have given up only 3 points. FSU, a strong second half club itself, though. They had outscored opponents 51-3 after intermission coming into the game. Auburn had outscored opponents 65-36. So both teams will score a lot in the second half. Out of the end zone, and the Seminoles will bring it out to the 20-yard line, trailing 24-17.
And I think that 51-3, I don't know if the people understand that. Outscoring your opponents 51-3 in the second half means that you're a great game day coach. Means that you have a sense for what the other team is trying to do to you. You can digest that and then come up with something to counteract it. And that's what Bobby Bowden is. Let's see what he comes up with in the second half.
as Tony Smith, 49, in at tailback as we begin the first offensive series. And number 30, Tanner Holloman, a junior from Tallahassee, is the fullback, trailing 24-17 from the 20-yard line. Eric Thomas, a quarterback. Great play fake. Incomplete, intended for number 9, Philip Bryant. Great job of faking the ball. Bryant covered well, and Thomas just couldn't get the ball to him. Let's watch Philip Bryant. He's a freshman from Bainbridge, Georgia.
He would rather take that pattern inside the defensive back. See, he's not able, after he clears him on the outside, to suck in the defender and leave himself some room on the sideline. You'd rather run that pattern to the inside of the jam, then come back outside. It leaves yourself some room to manipulate on the sideline. Thomas really had no place to go with it.
Second down 10 from the 20. Midway through the third quarter. Over the middle. Almost picked off. Eric Thomas having himself a real problem day. 3 out of 10, 1 interception. And remember, he has not played quarterback in live football action all year long due to the injury. He came in replace of Danny McManus with dizzy spells. Almost threw it away that time. Now, Bobby Bowden, as someone said the other day, needs, instead of a bench for quarterbacks, a bullpen. Because Bobby Bowden is not afraid, like Sparky Anderson, to go in there and pull out a pitcher who's having a tough day. So we could see another guy back in there.
Chip Ferguson bailed him out against Kansas.
On third down 10, Thomas. A lot of time. Incomplete. Short hopped it. Incomplete. Couldn't deliver the ball. Remember, this young man has had a sore shoulder all year. He's now 3 out of 11. With Florida State behind 24-17, you can bet they'll pass. They like to pass the ball more than run it anyway. And this is the first time today that Florida State has had to punt the ball. Lewis Berry comes in, averaging 39 and change per punt. And Trey Gaines will go back to take the punt reception at his own 35-yard line, number 19. High snap. Good punt. Good hang time. Gaines has a little room. Has his helmet knocked off. Oh, my. Penalty markers down. What a collision. I think 26 Alfonso Williams got the helmet. That could, of course, be a face mask. We'll see. He's okay, fortunately. 43-yard punt, 13-yard return.
The helmet's off now. No penalty. He's coming down, and I think that's what they call. Number 21 coming in there too late. Didn't look like he came in with a lot of force, but the idea was that he doesn't have his helmet anymore. Lay off.
That was John Hadley, I think, the man we're looking at, number 21. We'll be right back. This is Turner Network Television.
When it's icy cold and the wires are down and they're spitting sparks all over the ground, you gotta go. Can't fool around. That's why America goes with Prestone.
A fresh fill of Prestone 2 antifreeze fights freeze up and rust up too. A radiator could look this bad after just 10,000 miles of driving on weak, neglected antifreeze, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. Get the Prestone difference.
America goes and goes and goes with Prestone.
She challenged the state of Tennessee and put criminal justice on trial. They warned her.
They are going to get you.
Threatened her. They tried to silence her. That's how badly they wanted her out.
You are a troublemaker.
That's how hard she fought back. Sissy Spacek, Marie, the explosive true story. Rated PG-13.
Now playing at specially selected theaters.
Folks, the official refused to stop play during our commercial timeout, and Auburn scored a touchdown. So we apologize for that, but the officials are known to stop the play and are supposed to, but actually refuse to. So you got to see it again anyway, thanks to replay, of course. Bo Jackson.
Eric Floyd, Ron Middleton setting it up, but then it's just Bo Jackson fighting his way into the end zone. Good leg drive and running with power. You see it again, Steve Wilson, 75, and 63, Eric Floyd, Ron Middleton, number 87. Good blocking downfield by Freddie Wagan. Deion Sanders there in time, but can't drag down the powerful Auburn running back.
And Bo Jackson now with 134 yards on the day. His 17th 100-yard game, extending his school record, which he set last week against Ole Miss. 17 100-yard games. He has 4 200-yarders this year and is well on his way there again with 134. Again, we apologize for the official not stopping play, so you missed that one live, but we'll replay it for you plenty of times. A 53-yard touchdown run by Jackson, and then that one. 36th TD in his career.
You just can't let a runner like Jackson take on your defense one at a time. You've got to get there in groups, and when you get there, just hang on. Don't try to level them. Just hang on and wait for help.
My Heisman Trophy leading candidate right now for sure. This young man has had 815 yards coming into this game. So now he has 929. He could go over 1,000 today, and that'd be after 5 games if he continues to run the ball. And it's 31-17 Auburn, but Florida State powerful in the second half too. The problem for the Seminoles is, will they be able to settle their quarterback situation with McManus out with dizzy spells and Eric Thomas, who has not played all year, frankly struggling, 3 out of 11 throwing the ball. No return on this one, and Chris Johnson from Spanish Fort, Alabama, number 2, the kicker on kickoffs for Auburn, does a great job getting the ball into the end zone.
Rasheed Corin talking to the referee. They're really going after each other down there in the special teams.
Both of these teams are undefeated on our TBS telecast over the last 3.5 years. FSU 4-0, Auburn 3-0. One of them will not be undefeated after today's game. And I believe they're going to stay with Eric Thomas. Let's see what the young man can do. Remember, he's a senior. Remember, he's been injured. This is his first game action all year. Cletus Jones. A tough 5 yards for the fullback from Miami.
Certainly is an emotional football game, and you have to really maintain your poise in a situation like this. You don't want to get yourself thrown out of a game, and there are a couple of players down there that are close to igniting some extracurricular activity.
8:29 to go in the third quarter. It's Auburn 31, Florida State 17. We were tied 17-17 at halftime. Fullwood capped a 62-yard drive by Auburn on the opening drive, and then Jackson took it in from 35 after an interception. Second down 5. On the option, Eric Thomas. He's going to get the first down. Tough first down, but he gets it. That's what Thomas does better than any other Florida State quarterback, is run the option. Out to the 32-yard line.
And that's a very valuable aspect of an offense to have, because you can threaten the corner. A team can't worry as much about your receivers when they're concerned about supporting the option. And that's something that's a problem for every defensive coordinator in the country. But I still believe that the Auburn defense is vulnerable in the middle in that 15-yard area. It was open the last time. Hassan Jones didn't take it inside, though. He just curled up.
On a first down 10 from the 32-yard line. Tony Smith. Reverse. Darren Holloman needs a block. Good cut, but he goes down. Very little gain. Gerald Williams will get credit for the tackle, number 98 for Auburn. Holloman tried to stretch it outside and had to cut it back, Tim. That's where they got him.
Kelly was there. Williams was there. I'm sure that's something they drew up on the board and talked about a lot at halftime, because they were hurt on a couple of reverses and a couple of fake reverses. If they'd have handed the ball off to the man coming around, would have been big gainers too. So that door, I think, has probably been shut.
It's second down 8 from the 34. Seminoles trailing 31-17, third quarter. Eric Thomas on the option, out to the 38-yard line. Needed to go to the 42 for the first down. Eddie Phillips for the stop. And let's go to Atlanta for a college football update.
It's knotted at 10-all with Pitt, North Carolina State, until super freshman Brian Davis goes off the middle, breaks some tackles, and goes in, puts Pittsburgh out in front 17-10, and Bob Neal, watch Brian Davis in the future. He's a good one.
Thank you, Alec. Brian Davis, just one of many great freshmen in the country. That one at Pittsburgh. We've got some good ones in this game here today. Big play for FSU. 3rd and 3 from their own 39. Whistle blows. The clock had gone down to 0. I don't know whether it's a delay, but it very well may be a delay of game. As Florida State struggling, that's what the call is. Struggling on offense, something you usually do not see with the Seminoles. And Bo Jackson leading the cheers and running for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. He sold some popcorn at halftime. Took, I think, 2 or 3 tests. And that's an incredible statistic.
I don't know about popcorn, Bob, but I know that knowing that he's going to play sells some tickets.
Will he play baseball? Will he play football? If you ask him today, he'd say football because he's having a great day. After the spring baseball season at Auburn, he might have another answer. 3rd down 8.
Confusion on defense for Auburn.
Screen to Tanner Holloman. Great job running the ball, but he is short of the 1st down thanks to the 5-yard penalty. And that penalty was a very critical one for Florida State. They do not convert and will have to punt the football for the 2nd time today. And there's part of the big story. There is Danny McManus, a leader, a winner, the man who had been the starter. He's had 2 concussions. He's had dizzy spells. He cannot play and probably will not play in this game. Nobody feels worse about it than number 14, Danny McManus. We'll be right back.
WTBS, Great American Sports.
Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. 72,169 here. Auburn leads 31-17 with 2 second-half touchdowns. They were tied at halftime. 5:29 to go in the 3rd quarter. Auburn scored on a 62-yard drive and a Fullwood 1-yard run and an interception and a 35-yard Bo Jackson run. And Florida State's going for it on 4th and 2.
He's got it, Bob.
Wide open, Hassan Jones. And out of bounds at the 12. Had Thomas thrown it a heartbeat sooner, it was goal lines and headlines. What a play by Bowden's Seminoles. They called timeout, didn't punt. What a great play fake into the line. They faked our camera crew out, and that rarely happens in 60 games. And our director, Ken Fouts, even missed this.
You have to really be patient if you're a quarterback with this situation. You got to sit there and stare at the back on the ground. You draw up the defenders because those defenders, if they can play pass, they're not going to let a guy run down there. You really have to take your time, be a good actor. Great job by Eric Thomas.
1st down 10 from the 13-yard line. It's a reverse. Darren Holloman avoids tackles, cuts inside. 10. 5 down to the 2-yard line. Darren Holloman. Oh, what an exciting offensive team. How would you like to try to defense that? Carricker with the tackle. I got a kick out of that replay on the long pass play to Hassan Jones. You got a great idea with the camera there not following the ball, as did none of the Auburn players either. You almost felt like you were in the middle of the game watching all the heads turn. Oh, my. 31-17 Auburn leading. The Seminoles knocking on the door. They are close. It is 1st down goal by the length of the football.
A dive up the middle against Auburn in 4th and 2, the way they're playing, has no chance.
What a ball game.
Oh, and a gutty call by Bobby Bowden. Taking a big risk. Because the way that Auburn offense is moving the football, to give them the ball on the 40-yard line, it's like saying, well, that's the end of that.
All right. It is first down goal from the 2 Seminoles, trailing 31-17, 5:03 to go, third quarter. Panton in motion. Tony Smith gets blocked. Touchdown, Seminoles. Right in front of the Florida State cheering section of about 10,000 who are up from Tallahassee. I always like this, Tim. The entire team celebrates at Florida State. No one guy spikes the ball.
Well, it certainly has been a team effort for them on offense and on defense. They don't really have any standout superstars. They spread the ball around too much to have any big-time superstar, and I think that's what they're trying to encourage.
Point after attempt is good. It is Auburn 31, Florida State 24. We are on the way to another beautiful, heart-stopping football game between the Tigers and the Seminoles. 4:49 to go, third quarter. This is Turner Network Television.
At many stores, the person who sells rock albums also sells hardware. But at Century Hardware, the person who sells hardware sells hardware. Like Black & Decker half-sheet sanders, $34.88. Quickset single-cylinder deadbolt, $7.44. And DAP acrylic latex caulk, 29 cents. So who would you rather buy from? Someone who knows hardware or someone who knows rock and roll? Century, where hardware isn't a sideline.
She challenged the state of Tennessee and put criminal justice on trial. They warned her.
They are going to get you.
Threatened her. They tried to silence her. That's how badly they wanted her out.
You're a troublemaker.
That's how hard she fought back. Sissy Spacek, Marie, the explosive true story. Rated PG-13.
Now playing at specially selected theaters.
Watch 64 Jamie Dukes or Tomberlin over on the left side. 49 is Tony Smith. Look at his blocking. Power football.
They're getting people on the line. Look at Dukes picks off one guy and knocks off Powell. And great effort by Jamie Dukes, enabling Tony Smith to score for Florida State.
Now, the key play on the drive was the 4th down and 2. Bobby Bowden was about to punt, calls timeout, comes back in, play fakes into the line, throws a 48-yarder from Thomas to Hassan Jones. And Tim Foley, I'm right now going to designate the best play fake I've ever seen in a college football game.
That's the best play fake I've ever seen. The best play fake I've ever seen is when Fran Tarkington did that same thing to me. It threw it 60 yards to John Gilliam, and I got a throat full of Shula.
A throat full of Shula. Here comes Brent Fullwood. Out to the 16-yard line. Good coverage by the Seminoles. It's 31-24 Auburn with the ball again. They've had 2 scoring drives on this second half in this third quarter. Time of possession, 4:07. Big play. Oh, my, was it? 8 plays, 80 yards, 4:07. Now the crowd, everybody on their feet. The Seminole fans cheering their defense. However, 62,000 Tiger fans are drowning them out, cheering for the offense right now. It's noisy down there, folks.
Both these teams displaying the courage of their head coaches. Just will not quit, will not let up. Both teams have had a chance to do that. They just keep fighting back.
First down 10 from the 16. That is Tommy Agee, number 30. Out to the 25. 2 of the great football teams in the country. Either one of these teams have a chance to finish in the top 5. Florida State number 4 coming into the game. Auburn number 12 after being ranked number 1, then losing to Tennessee.
The difference with this Florida State football team in terms of the previous 4 games is they've played defense in the second half. Let's see if they can stop Auburn here late in the third quarter and the fourth quarter.
You talk about even Steven. 311 yards each team. Second down 1. Washington's going upstairs. He's looking for Wagan. It is incomplete. Good coverage by 32 Martin Mayhew. A little bit of help by 16 Tracy Sanders. And Washington shows he's got the long arm, but he couldn't find his receiver, 14 Wagan. Pat Washington now is 4 out of 9 throwing the football today. It'll be third down 1 from the 25-yard line. We've seen 4 fourth-down conversions in this game. 3 by Auburn, and a 4th and 2, which I thought was slightly crazy by Bobby Bowden when he throws it 48 yards to Hassan Jones.
And if you're working with Pat Washington, you have to be proud of him. That man's displayed a lot of character going from the third-team quarterback to the first-team quarterback.
Here's Bo Jackson, first down, and more. Oh, he's so tough to stop out there. To the 36. That's the kind of play that he scored his 53-yard touchdown run a minute 50 seconds into this game.
If you're Eric Williams, you go to tackle Bo Jackson, you can't get down around the thigh area. You just can't grab because you're going to deliver that forearm, and his legs are so powerful. You almost have to kind of give up a couple extra yards and grab a hold of something, because if he sheds you, then he's got the sidelines and a touchdown.
First down 10, Auburn from the 35. Washington going to the air. It's complete to the 46-yard line. Nice diving catch by Trey Gaines. Gaines with his 3rd catch of the afternoon. And I believe it is a first down. Yes, first down Auburn. They haven't moved the sticks yet, but it seems obvious to me that it's a first down. 3:10 to go, 3rd quarter. 31-24, Tigers leading the Seminoles. Florida State has only defeated Auburn once. That was back in '77 under Bobby Bowden in his 2nd year. They have never won here at Auburn. They say Bobby Bowden is the king of the road, but that's unless the road leads to Auburn, Alabama thus far. Pat Washington never had a prayer. Lenny Chavers right up the middle.
And you know what's interesting, Bob? I think if there's a game that Bowden would like to win on the road, it's Auburn. He's from Birmingham, Alabama, went to Woodlawn High School. This is coming home. You know, and he's got to come home for Christmas and listen to all that joke about how he can't beat Auburn. So it's one that he wants to win.
There's Tiger, the War Eagle mascot. You know, they're on a campaign here at Auburn to make people understand around the country that these are the Auburn Tigers. They have only one team nickname. They have been called the Plainsmen, but that's not their nickname. And War Eagle is a cry, not a nickname. There's Bo Jackson. Gets it to the 47-yard line. Gain of about 5, maybe 4 yards. It was 2nd and 13.
And this rivalry is not a bitter, biting rivalry like some of them, where there's just a lot of animosity. I think more so than a lot of rivalries that I've been associated with, there's a lot of respect between the schools and the players, simply because of the rocky type of football games that these people have had.
3rd down and 9.5 or 10 for Auburn from the 47.
They come.
Washington goes down, a big loss. 55, Fred Jones shot right up the middle. It was an obvious passing situation. 6-yard loss on the play, and now in will come Lewis Colbert to punt the football for Auburn. Only his 2nd punt of the day. Watch 55, Fred Jones.
McGowan coming on one side, Jones up the middle. They just didn't have enough people to pick it up. Full blitz by Florida State. The big play there, though, Bob, is a first down play by Shavers. It puts Auburn in a passing situation, and that's not where they want to be. They want to pass at their option, not when they have to.
Seminoles rushing 10 against Colbert. Now they're covering. Fake the rush. Good high punt. Deion Sanders is going to take it at his 14. He's a great athlete, but he's got himself in some real trouble. And down at the 11. Excellent punt by Colbert of 45 yards, and a loss actually on the return of 5 yards by Deion Sanders. They're going to spot it at the 11, and that's where the Seminoles will go on offense with 53 seconds to go. 3rd quarter, trailing 31-24.
Did that all in one breath. Pat Dye, it looked like for a while that Auburn was pulling out, that they were getting out and leaving Florida State in the dust, and you could see Dye start to breathe a little bit easier. But now he's got those lines around his eyes are starting to show again. The worry's setting in.
First down 10, Seminoles. Bryant splits wide to the left side. Hassan Jones to the right side. Thomas. He's looking for Bryant. He's out there. It's picked off. Number 45, Jimmy Warren. To the 40. He's got running room. Out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Penalty marker down at the 30-yard line. Eric Thomas just hung it out there. And Jimmy Warren followed it all the way. He stepped out of bounds at the 24. There is a penalty marker on the return. It's an illegal block below the waist call in the open field against Auburn. Let's see what happened. It looked like Philip Bryant really never did see this pass until the last minute. It was really just kind of hung up there.
The play that usually goes along with the action that was in the backfield is a slant. This one, they try to take advantage of Bryant's speed and just run away from Jimmy Warren. The ball was not thrown out there. Even if it was, Warren was in good shape.
Illegal block, a block below the waist. You return. First down.
Now, as a defensive back, they tell you to try to find the sidelines. That's where your help is going to be, and that's what Jimmy Warren did.
So that's a spot of the foul penalty, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, which happened at the 34-yard line. Warren had stepped out at the 24, but they moved the ball back to the 44, and that's where Auburn takes over, first down 10, leading 31-24. 38 seconds to go in the quarter, and timeout has been called and charged to the Auburn Tigers. This telecast authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Southeastern Conference and Turner Broadcasting System. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the SEC and the Turner Broadcasting System Incorporated is prohibited. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification.
Virginia 17.
So Auburn, who is the football team, Auburn is last in the SEC in turnovers. But today it has been the turnovers that have aided Auburn. 2 big interceptions, one that led to a touchdown last time. This time Jimmy Warren comes up with the interception and puts Auburn in excellent field position at their own 44-yard line.
And usually on a play like that, Bob, the offensive man, more used to fighting for the football, more used to making the reception and playing the ball, will come up and at least break that up. You know, Bryant didn't do that. You've seen and I've seen people come in over the top and make the great catch. Bryant really didn't come back and fight for the football like he should have.
He's a freshman, perhaps without the experience. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. Auburn, Alabama. This is Tommy Agee driving inside the 40 and stopped there at about the 39-yard line. Initial hit made by number 40, Greg Newell. 28 seconds to go, third quarter.
And they still don't have him on the ground. Agee is performed in the shadow of Bo Jackson and James Brooks and Brent Fullwood. I'm really impressed with him.
Remember another outstanding player who performed in the shadow of Brooks, as a matter of fact, by the name of William Andrews, who went on to get out of the shadow. And we understand, by the way, that the Auburn graduate, William Andrews, who I'm happy to say is a friend of mine, is recovering nicely from his severe knee injury. That's the end of the third quarter. Has most of the feeling back in the knee, and the Falcons are hoping he might get an opportunity to play a little before the year is over. We wish him very well. We'll be back with the fourth and final quarter at Jordan-Hare Stadium right after this.
Brighten your colors, sharpen your sound with high-tech components designed to astound. Fine-tune your life with Emerson. Amazing new features, the ultimate prize. Step into the future, we'll open your eyes. Fine-tune your life. Emerson feels so right. Emerson. Fine-tune your life with Emerson.
Milwaukee 1851 beer. You'll buy it for 130 years of brewing experience. Did we mention its low introductory price? Tastes great. Less money.
Hey, did you know that on Super Football Saturday night, Boston College makes West Point target 0 when they battle Doug Black and Army's devastating ground attack?
I know. I'm Lindsey Nelson, and I'm part of it.
All right. Super Football Saturday night at 8 Eastern on a Super station tonight. This is Turner Network Television.
Now with Castrol, the motor oil engineered for smaller cars, you'll save more than wear and tear on your engine. You'll save on Prestone antifreeze, Simonized wax, STP gas treatment, Purelator filters, and more. In every 12-pack of Castrol are rebates worth $45. So Castrol makes things easy on your budget while it makes things easy on your engine. Castrol Money Back 12-pack.
You notice it the moment you pick it up. The balance. The power. A Homelite chainsaw feels right, and that makes a big difference when you have better things to do than cut wood all day.
Homelite Jacobson. We put more free time in your day.
Get accessories worth up to $93 free when you buy selected Homelite chainsaws at these dealers.
You are watching the home of the 1986 Goodwill Games. Superstation WTVS.
Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you, ready to begin the fourth quarter from Jordan-Hare Stadium. A symphony of sound here, 72,169. Last year it was 42-41 Auburn, and at one point Auburn led 29-24. Right now it's 31-24 Auburn. And their ball, 2nd and 5 from the 39 of the Seminoles.
Unbalanced line again, Bob.
Jackson, excellent blocking. Jackson gets about 4. Portions of today's game are brought to you by Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. Speaking of Bo Jackson, in 1985, prior to that play, Bo Jackson had rushed for 963 yards. FSU's entire backfield had rushed for 858 yards, and they're pretty good runners. That's everybody.
He's quite an athlete. And I think they've simplified their offense, and they're just putting it in his hands as often as they can.
3rd down 3. Jackson. 1st down. Extra effort to the 31. Isaac Williams, 45, and number 40, Greg Newell. And on the play for Florida State. We've seen good play, as usual, by the inside linebackers by Florida State, Jones and McGowan, but when they are taken out of the play, it is usually a substantial gain. It seems to be the key is moving those.
We're going to watch Freddie Jones here, steps up in there, takes on AG. So you hate to bury your head like that. You're giving yourself up, trying to stuff the play, but you have to be able to fight off those blockers and keep your feet.
This time they give it to the fullback, AG. Across the 30 to the 29. Paul McGowan, Gerald Nichols combining on the play.
But what begins to happen a little bit is you think to yourself, oh, not again. Because they've been on the field a long time, the FSU defense. And then because Auburn has driven down the field. And they're chewing up 4 or 5 yards at a time. That can wear you out.
That number 30 is Tommy Agee. He has carried the ball in this game 7 times, which is a lot for 26 yards, a lot for him in this offense. Bo Jackson already has carried it 24 times. He said prior to this game he could carry it 50 if he needed to. 2nd down 8. Washington taking it upstairs. Has a man down there. It's 14 Wagan, incomplete. Covered by 17 Williams, playing on a sprained ankle. Williams hurt his ankle earlier in the game, but he's playing with a little pain. And Pat Dye, not exactly full of confidence with a 31-24 lead here, although he's been very successful against the Seminoles historically.
Yes, he has, but you can ask him. Some of those gray hairs that you mentioned came out of games against Florida State. And Pat Dye's got his team going in the right direction, though. I think they're playing as a unit more now than maybe they have since 1983 when they won the SEC championship.
Here's a big play both ways. 3rd down 8 from the 29. Double wing formation. Now one of the tight ends goes up. H-back goes in motion. Option play, Bo Jackson. 1st down. What a back. Oh, my. The acceleration is phenomenal. He goes out of bounds just inside the 20. 1st down, Auburn. Jackson strung it out, and then, like he hit afterburners, got the next few yards. Watch it, Tim.
Toss to the outside, and then there's Lee Mark Sellers out in front. Good block on Eric Williams. Sanders can't get there in time to help out.
So Bo Jackson now with 165 yards on the afternoon. 13:01 to go in the game. Auburn 31, Florida State 24. On the 1st down, Jackson avoids a tackle by Jones. To the 14. Playing with fire today. Look at some scores around the country. Iowa, number 1 ranked, leading Wisconsin 10-0 in the 2nd quarter. Oklahoma, Texas, in that battle down in the Cotton Bowl. Tied, Air Force leading Navy, 3rd quarter. And Tennessee coming back on Florida. It had been 0-0 and then 3-3, and then Florida was up 17-3. But, excuse me, that's a final. So Tennessee came back, but not all the way. We'll have Tennessee on our TNT game next week versus Alabama. Ohio State laying it on Indiana today in the second quarter. Here is Brent Fullwood. He's breaking tackles. Goes shy of the 10. Oh, my. Some really brutal hitting down there. Greg Newell with the initial hit. They could have gotten close to the first down. They may have to measure. It looks shy of the first down by just a little bit.
This is what football's all about. You can't hear it from up here, but let me guarantee you there's some noise from these impacts. And look at Fullwood. Just determination, keeping those legs going. Gerald Williams comes back in there and puts him away. Probably delivered a big old bruise to his thigh.
Third down, very short. Bobby Bowden watching his defense dig in. Auburn leads 31-24. They're at the 11-yard line of the Seminoles. Handoff to Ware, does not get it. Ware is held short. There have been 4 fourth-down conversions in this game. Pat Dye has gone for it 3 times. He's talking to Jackson. He's going for it again. Well, this is going to be a beauty to watch, folks. Looked like he said sweep. Could that be, Tim Foley?
Yeah, that's a possibility. What's happening here is they bring the tight end in motion. Florida State's linebackers need to adjust to that strong side because now they're ending up with 4 men on one side of the center. And they're just getting outnumbered over there.
4th and 1 at the 11. Sweep. Jackson close to it. It'll depend on where the spot is. The officials will determine this one, and this one's going to be unpopular no matter where they spot the ball.
If they spotted where he's got his foot, they didn't get it.
They have put the ball exactly on the 10. I think you're going to find that they did not get it. This will be talked about on the plains in Auburn all week long, and the Seminoles celebrate.
We're going to see it again. This is just straight up head-to-head power football. Good block by AG. Trying to open up a hole. It looks like, I don't know what it looks like.
It looks to me like the plane of the ball was at the 10-yard line. Well, we did not have a perfect angle.
Right. So it's a good spot, right?
I think it was a pretty good spot.
Good play by FSU defense. That's rising to the challenge.
I think the Seminoles think it was a good spot, and Auburn thinks it wasn't. How's that for politics? First down 10, Florida State stopping the drive. Option play. Oh, what a dangerous pitch. This is Tony Smith. To the 34-yard line. Oh, my. That was a rifle pitch out there. If Tony Smith doesn't get that one, it could have been in and out of the end zone for a safety, or it could have even been a touchdown for Auburn. 24 yards. Watch this.
Watch the reflexes of Eric Thomas. Man, all of a sudden he's got somebody in his face, Andre Bruce, and lets it go out there almost blind. Good catch by Tony Smith. And now it's upfield. Pat Carter escorting him. Darren Holloman fighting to keep a defensive back out.
First down 10 from the 35-yard line. Seminoles trailing 31-24. We're in the 4th quarter. Eric Thomas on the option. Turns it upfield for nothing this time. He wisely kept the ball. Edward Phillips, 46, with a tackle for Auburn. 10:06 to go in the game. Florida State stopping a 4th and 1 gamble. But remember, Pat Dye is 3 out of 4 on 4th down conversion attempts today, and that man has denied very few short yardage plays, but he was moments ago. Jackson on the day, 170 yards in 27 carries.
This is what college football is about, Bob.
I'm glad I'm here. Hope the viewers are enjoying it wherever you may be. Second down 10, Seminoles. Thomas hits his tight end, who drives to the 49-yard line. Pat Carter, Tom Powell with the tackle. And let's say something here as we watch this replay. Thomas struggled early. He seems to be gaining with his re-entry into the game here.
Johnson drifted out for the pitch. Left Carter open up the middle. Flanker running the fade pattern as they ran before. And this is the type of quarterback that Eric Thomas is. It's not real pretty. Doesn't have a big, strong arm, but he just does the little things that keeps the drive going.
He was 4 out of 11, but is now 3 out of his last 4. So Thomas warming to the task. First and 10 Seminoles at the 49-yard line. Thomas on the option. Fumble. It is Seminole ball. Thomas got back there to get the ball. It was frankly a bad toss, but Thomas hustling to the ball and averted the big turnover, and turnovers has really been what's hurt Seminoles here today.
No way he should have gotten there. That was just pure hustle right there. That was just the desire. He didn't.
Not measurable.
Really. I don't understand how he came up with that ball.
Now John Parks, a freshman, in it split end along with 24 Darren Holloman on second down 19 from the 43. They hand it off to Tony Smith. Running room. First down. Look at him drive to the 34-yard line. Tony Smith putting on a show of his own on the last couple of carries he's had the ball. Powell with the tackle, and Tony Smith now on the afternoon with 79 yards and 10 carries, 23 this time.
Nothing fancy here. Good block by John Ionata. He walled off Rocker, and that gave Smith the room to take it upfield. Powell takes him down with Warren, gets a lot of help by the time he slowed down. The Seminoles have hurt Auburn in the past with the draw. They use it effectively there.
First down 10 from the 34 of Auburn. It is Auburn 31, Florida State 24. Clock ticking, 7:50 to go in the game. Cletus Jones, the fullback, pops it to the 21-yard line. First down Seminoles. Quick opener. And now you got to start talking a little bit about Ionata, Dukes, Schrenker, Tomberlin, Lopez.
You could talk a lot about Tomberlin. There's a lot of area to cover there. He came in at 323 pounds as a freshman. After the first practice, he was down to 325. He gained weight during practice, but the coaches, what they have to say about him is he's just got quick feet. He gets around so well for being that big.
I also see Mark Salva is in there for the Seminoles. First and 10 at the 21 of Auburn. Pitch to the freshman, Eric Floyd. Changes direction. Loses 4. Nothing that time. Harold Hallman, and Auburn says, they must be listening to us. The defensive lineman for Auburn said, would you like to talk about those fellows? How about Williams, Hallman, Rocker, etc.?
I've got a Marine buddy in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. Would like to know that Harold Hallman is part of the PLC program. So he's really officially a Marine, and that's why he comes up with the big play when you need it.
Okay, second down and 14. Seminoles at the 25 of Auburn. 6:44 to go in the game. Seminoles trail by 7. Thomas under pressure. Here comes Robinson. Thomas is thrown out of bounds way back at the 39, and Gerald Robinson, 95, came firing along with Harold Holloman, 94. Robinson has come up with some fantastically big plays. Looks like Bobby Bowden calling timeout down there, Tim. It will be third down long. No, I think 37. No, I think not.
I think what he's doing, Bob, is getting the coverage. He wants to know what they were in, what happened, where was the breakdown, did they blitz, was it just straight coverage? They may start going to maximum protection. They may start going to maximum protection and see if they can get those Holloman and Hassan Jones open down the field.
All right, that's what it is. We got Jones on the right, Holloman on the left side, 3rd and 26 from the 37. That's what you got, Tim. Stepping up into the pocket, Eric Thomas can find nobody. And he gets a little field position back to the 30. That's field goal range. They don't want the field goal, of course, trailing 31-24 with 6:28 to go in the game. Far short of the first down. Remember, the Seminoles have to go to the 11-yard line of Auburn for the first down, thanks to the great defensive play by Auburn.
And that particular play, Frank Orgel, the defensive coordinator for Auburn, chose to put Tommy Powell in that vulnerable area. And he was sitting around that 18-yard area, thereby cutting off any Seminole pass that would be coming into that area.
Here's Schmidt. He is 1 out of 3 today. He's frankly struggling. This will be a 46-yarder. It's good. Just barely, but that's enough for 3. And it's 31-27 with 6:21 to go in the game. This is Turner Network Television.
You got to move? You're thinking about a move. You are moving. Ryder moving days are here with special rates on Ryder trucks at Ryder dealers everywhere. The newest, best trucks you can rent with power steering, automatic transmissions, radios, air conditioning. Did you move yet? Our special fall rates will help you move. See your rider dealers. With these rates, you're gonna move. I'm moving. Yeah. Rider, the right move.
Ace Best Buys.
I wonder who he is today.
Good evening.
Hi. Protect your home with the Family Guard smoke detector. The $2 rebate means it costs just $4.88.
Hello, Danny.
Hello. Your actual cost for this firefighter is just $4.88 with the exclusive Ace $5 rebate coupon.
The Ames Green Sweeper Lawn Rake.
Green is nice.
And at $3.66, a nicely priced October Best Buy.
That's the way it is. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man. Yay!
Another great SEC rivalry next week on TNT. The Crimson Tide of Alabama will host Tennessee at Birmingham's Legion Field. And yours truly, Bob Neal, Tim Foley, will be there with the TBS Sports crew. Tennessee today was beaten 17-10 by Florida down in Gainesville. What sounded like a pretty good game. Alabama plays Penn State later.
I tell you what, the folks that are here should donate $10 a piece on the way out because they've got 2 games worth of action here today. They ought to just sit around and applaud them no matter who wins.
Barry Barco hits it hard into the end zone and out of the end zone. Good kickoff by Barco, and they'll bring the ball out to the 20, where Auburn, now leading 31-27, has 6 minutes and 21 seconds to maintain ball control, hold on to this slim 4-point lead. And oh my, it is down to it now, folks. We're about to see a good 6 minutes and 21 seconds of football.
That's exactly what they're going to try to do, Bob. They're going to try to simply maintain possession of the football. Don't do anything risky. Don't do anything that's going to put their lead in jeopardy, and just chew up the clock.
And they've got the offensive machine with which to do it. It's a powerful high formation with a great offensive line, and Bo Jackson and Tommy Agee. Agee, look at the speed for the fullback. Can he be caught? Run down from behind by 32 Mayhew. What a run at the 12-yard line. Offensive line of Auburn.
Look at them fire out there. Steve Wallace, Jeff Parks create a gap. The defensive backs don't react in time to get back in it. Don't get their eye on the ball. And here comes Martin Mayhew, chasing them down from all the way across the field. Old Martin was a 150-pound high school halfback and dragged him down. But I tell you what, there's my player of the game if I had a vote, Tommy Agee.
68 yards on that play. 95 on the afternoon. 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line of the Seminoles. Bo Jackson stringing it out. Nowhere. Losing a yard or 2. Seminole defensive unit. There's a player down for Florida State at about the 9-yard line. We'll check that out for you. Clock down to 5:42. Auburn leading by 4. It looks like it could be Fred Jones. Fred Jones was injured earlier in this game and went out for a while, and is now down once again at the 9-yard line. Florida State trainers on the field now. So it was 31-24 Auburn. Florida State with an excellent drive and then an outstanding defensive stand by the Tigers and several plays of losses. And Florida State went for a 46-yard field goal. Was successful from Derek Schmidt to make it 31-27. But then Agee, whose name is being chanted even as we speak, with a 68-yard run. And here he comes back into the game. Tommy Agee. I want to remind you that the 1986 Goodwill Games will be seen on many of these TNT stations, produced by TBS Sports from Moscow and the Soviet Union. 18 of the most popular sports of the Olympic nature, sports such as track and field, boxing, wrestling, basketball. Hope you'll join us for those next July 5th through the 20th from Moscow and the Soviet Union. United States, USSR, and many other nations. There are at least 30 nations involved in it at this point in the invitational meet, and probably more to come. Here we have more to come. It's 5:36 to go in the game from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. 2nd down, 11, Auburn. Florida State still working on Fred Jones on the sideline. He may have had the wind knocked out of him. We're hoping that's the case. but now they're helping him as though it is a leg. I'm sorry to say, his right knee. Jones had injured it earlier in this game and had returned to play. Bo Jackson going over and shaking his hand. Bo and Fred had been really worthy opponents here today. They had met many times on this afternoon. There's the spirit of what this is about, this game is about. Jackson sympathy handshake with Fred Jones. We hope the young man will be okay. We'll get a report.
What they did successfully in the previous drive, Bob, they brought the tight end in motion to the tight end side, the H-back. Here he comes.
Washington on the reverse. That's 14. Weygand has a lot of running room. Touchdown. We have seen more fourth down gambles, great play fakes, ends around, reverse, and exciting offensive football in this game today than I've seen in many a moon. And a lot of it coming from that man, Pat Dye, known generally as a conservative game coach. But he pulled some out of here today. Point after it. It's good. Auburn, 38. Florida State, 27. But the way this game is going, we have all kinds of time left. 5 minutes, 11 seconds.
We're Delta Airlines. We love the things we do. We do them all to please you. Delta.
These Delta singers, representing over 38,000 pros worldwide, are singing out a new message.
Anytime, Delta gets you there. Unmistakably sharp. Unmistakably fine, unmistakably warm, unmistakably yours and mine, unmistakably right, down to the last detail. Tonight is unmistakably steak and ale.
So Auburn goes up by 11, 38-27 with 5:11 to go. On the end around, Freddie Weygand with the touchdown.
Alfonso Williams has a hold. Has a hold of the quarterback, and as he tosses the ball to Weygand, and it's an old coaching philosophy. Stay at home. You can't do anything chasing a play down on the other side from the goal line. You might as well wait. Take care of your responsibility. Good call by Jack Crow and Pat Dye. Timely call. Work like a charm.
Number 2, Chris Johnson with a kickoff. Keith Ross is deep along with Chuck Wells. They really nailed this one again. Did it get out of bounds before or after it went across the goal line? After, and it'll be brought out to the 20. Excellent kickoff job by Chris Johnson today. Only one FSU return all day long. There's the scoring drive. Only 3 plays. The key play, of course, the 68-yard run by Tommy Agee. The fullback, Agee now with 95 yards, Fullwood with 49, Jackson with 169, and what an awesome offensive machine Auburn has this year. They were second in the nation in total offense coming into this game behind Nebraska and are leading in the SEC, and they've done nothing to hurt that today.
Pat Washington is the guy that's making it work, providing the leadership for that offense.
Seminoles running the ball a yard or 2, not much more. Bobby Bowden will have to run it a time or 2 as Cletus Jones with the ball, and then you can be sure that he'll be tossing it. He would like to. Last week, 2 weeks ago, when FSU came from behind to beat Kansas after trailing in that game, he brought in a fireballing relief pitcher, the Goose Gossage of his relief staff, a kid by the name of Chip Ferguson, a freshman from Spartanburg who threw 2 touchdown passes. Whether he'll do that today or not, I would frankly doubt it. Thomas on a 2nd down 8. Picked off, number 3, Kevin Porter. Touchdown. Close the door on this one. his third interception of the day. And the interceptions have been the story. Porter picked off 2 of them. Jimmy Warren got the other one. To 27 Auburn. One after is good. 45 to 27 Auburn with 4:26 to go in the game. This is Turner Network Television.
Watch, Holloman's running a little delay here, coming underneath. Johnson reacts to the football. The ball is thrown high, and Porter is there to get the tip ball. 2 interceptions isn't really indicative of the game that Porter has played, or it doesn't have to be. You can play a not-so-great game and get 2 interceptions, but he has been in the right place at the right time all day long. This is Turner Network Television.
This commercial is recorded in stereo. Does your TV have what it takes to hear it? Now Zenith introduces the Smart Sets with the television stereo sound Zenith invented, built in. So all you have to do to hear this in stereo is this. Zenith Advanced System 3, 19 models with built-in stereo. The Smart Sets, smarter than ever.
The sporting event of the decade, the Goodwill Games. In July of 1986, the world's finest athletes will unite in Moscow to determine who is the best in track and field, gymnastics, and more than 16 other world-class sporting events. 10 years after Montreal, witness the first meeting between the United States and the Soviet Union in an international summer sports extravaganza that will become the sporting event of the decade. Turner Broadcasting proudly presents the Goodwill Games.
And there's a young man who feels worse about the interceptions than anybody else. Eric Thomas, 6 out of 15 with 3 interceptions. Danny McManus had started. Thomas came in relief. They're going to return this kickoff. Keith Ross, the freshman, with a very unintelligent decision, is down at the 8. Figure that one out. Shan Morris with the tackle for Auburn. He was in the very back of the end zone.
He was almost out of the end zone.
I was afraid he was, as a matter of fact.
I think he was so far back in there, none of his teammates went over to restrict his forward momentum, and as a result, he just decided to come on out.
Well, he didn't come on out much. He got to the 8-yard line, and Keith Ross, the freshman, showed he's a freshman, and Bobby Bowden has indeed gone to his bullpen and pulled out Chip Ferguson, number 5, the freshman from Spartanburg, South Carolina, who came in relief against Kansas 2 weeks ago and played very well. He'll have to really play well to try to pull one out here with 4:20 left.
As a matter of fact, they might be saying that he did step out, that he was out of the end zone. So.
Kicking team was offside, 5 yards, quick kick.
Unbelievable. That's dodging a bullet. The official, after a great delay, decided that Auburn was offside on the kickoff. Bill Goff made that announcement, Bill Goss, and now they'll kick it again. And you can bet that if it's that deep this time, Keith Ross won't be running it out. Bobby Bowden with a long afternoon at Auburn, and he's had many of them up here.
In the third quarter, Kansas 18, Iowa State 16.
Just doing a little instruction there with Chip Ferguson, just reminding him of a few things. Don't necessarily eyeball what you're looking at. Look the defense off. Know where you're going with the football. They'll put Chip Ferguson in there. They're going to tell him, look at, set up, look the other way, and throw it to the split end. They'll tell him where to throw the football, because Auburn will be fairly vanilla at this time of the game, Bob.
4 minutes and 20 seconds remain. 45-27 Auburn. Tied 17-17 at halftime. Auburn came out and scored twice. Then FSU, with some great defense, comes back and scores to make it 31-24. But back come the Auburn Tigers. This comes down to number 87, Galen White. Played a wing position way upfield, and he goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line. And from there, the Seminoles have 4 minutes and 15 seconds of football remaining at Auburn, where they have never won a ball game. You saw Chip Ferguson's statistics. Came in and threw for 1 touchdown. He was 2 out of 3 last week in relief versus Kansas.
He can wing it. He's got the big, strong arm, Bob, and, you know, classic drop-back passer type of arm.
He's hit from behind. It's pulled out of the air by number 92, Ron Stallworth. Touchdown, Auburn. It was 90 Brian Smith who applied the pressure. Auburn laying it on today.
And then the sky is opened up. Good hustle by all. Watch him working around the top there, Stallworth. Look at it. Pow! Out comes the ball. Who made the hit? Brian Smith? Stallworth sprints into the end zone.
Another freshman. Listen to the turnovers. Florida State, 4 fumbles, 4 interceptions. 8 turnovers today by the Seminoles. Auburn has fumbled once and been intercepted 1 time, and that's why it's 51-27. Point after is good, 52-27, with 4:04 to go in the game. And we'll be right back to Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama.
Pilot Chuck Yeager for AC Telco.
Up here, power when you need it can save your neck. When you get back down to your car, it helps too. Today's smaller engines need extra firepower from a spark plug, and AC delivers. If you could look inside your engine, you'd see an AC spark plug delivering up to 30,000 volts, firing 30 times a second. Firepower when you need it from AC.
Get rebates now on AC spark plugs.
Never wait for trouble.
As long as there are people who can afford perfection, BMW will continue to pursue it. The BMW 635 CSI.
There you see it, Auburn 52, Florida State 27, with 4:04 to go in the ball game. 8 turnovers from the Seminoles, 4 fumbles, 4 interceptions.
Well, we've gone into that standard Auburn-Florida State script for a while, but then the Auburn defense forgot their part. They came back and scored 12 points. We've seen 3 defensive touchdowns today.
25-point spread here. Keith Ross fumbles it in the end zone. He's going to run it out again. To the 12. Penalty marker down at the point of impact. Number 33, Curtis Stewart, was down there early. Penalty marker goes down. The biggest margin of victory, 57-21, Auburn beat Florida State back in 1960. And the first year these two teams played in 1954, Auburn won 33-0. And now they lead by 25, 52-27. And it was 17-17 at halftime. And it seemingly just moments ago, it was 31-24. Here's the penalty tacked on after the play out to the 27.5-yard line.
Personal foul on the kicking team. First down.
There's the announcement, personal foul. I'd like to thank Wayne Hogan, Dan Pearson, Lisa Morton of the Florida State University Sports Information Department for their help in our preparation in today's game. Ferguson bobbling the snap. It's down. Loose.
Auburn ball.
Auburn football, the 5th fumble of the afternoon. There's the man with the ball, number 41.
Pat Thomas.
Pat Thomas with the ball. Now, he may not have been the man with the ball. I'll double-check that. I think it may have been 47 Carricker. So Chip Ferguson didn't exactly come and ride to the rescue this week as he did against Kansas. He is a freshman, remember that. McManus, then Thomas, then Ferguson. McManus was playing very well. First quarter and most a portion of the second quarter. Had dizzy spells. He's had 2 concussions this year versus Nebraska, versus Memphis State, and they pulled him out of the game. Bo Jackson. gets to the 22-yard line, and the new quarterback for Auburn is Jeff Berger, who's coming in relief of Washington. But Washington is simply getting a rest after having a good afternoon. There's Danny McManus, the young man who had the dizzy spells, 2 concussions. And you see over on his right, Kirk Coker, the other quarterback who has not played today. 3 of the 4 Florida State quarterbacks have. In this half, none have been effective.
Emotional year for Pat Washington, a quarterback for Auburn. The fellow that's kind of tying it all together now. As Auburn runs.
Jackson. A couple of yards, gets to the 20-yard line. Tripped up by 79 Gerald Nichols. Might mention here that Florida State came into this game undefeated, 4-0, after beating Nebraska on the road and Kansas at home 2 weeks ago. Florida State is having a better season early than they had been anticipated to have, and will still stay in the top 20 after this game. Losing to Auburn is certainly no disgrace. And Florida State still has an opportunity to go to a major bowl this year. They'll just go to 4-1, and that'll be the record for Auburn, 4-1. Bo Jackson on the sideline, only needing 90 to reach 1,000 after less than 5 games. 9 yards to reach 1,000. The 33, Curtis Stewart, to the 9-yard line. First down, Auburn, with 2:16 remaining in this football game.
I'm talking about Pat Washington. Really lost his job to Bobby Walden in the spring, came back as the 3rd-string quarterback, and just patiently sat there, didn't say anything, didn't cause any trouble. This young man's just got a ton of character and patiently played his role as the number 3 quarterback until he got his opportunity to produce, and you can see that this team responds to his leadership.
First down goal from the 9, Tigers. Stewart to about the 7 or 8-yard line, and down he goes. Clock down to 1:47 and counting. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. That will not be significant in this 52-27 game. Who would have believed it was 17-17 at halftime? And we thought the 2 Florida State missed field goals could prove to be significant. As it turns out, of course, they did not. So Auburn will just run the ball here.
Frank Orgel has to be proud of his defense, the way they responded in the second half. And came up with the big plays, the turnovers, the takeaways that turned the momentum of this football game.
Second down, goal from the 8.5-yard line. Touchdown Auburn. Handoff to Demetrius Street right up the middle. And he broke touchdowns and ran it into the end zone. 58-27. And folks, that's not running up the score. Pat Dye simply handing the ball off to his 3rd-team fullback, who ran it in from 8 yards out.
Demetrius Street. Just running over people. The nose for Pater, Demetrius.
And that's good. 32 points now. The margin of victory only one shy of the largest margin of victory in this series when Auburn won the first game back in 54, 33-0. 1:03 remaining in this game. But the story of the game, in addition to Auburn's great offensive machine, 5 fumbles and 4 interceptions. Something that this team had not been doing.
No, it hadn't been doing. It's been offensively, it hadn't been up to the production level of a usual Florida State offense, but it hadn't been handing the ball away that much. Florida State has to be disappointed. Came in here, as you mentioned, rated number 4 in the nation, and a real challenge for Pat Dye and his coaching staff. And his players really came together, rose to the challenge. Had a team meeting the Wednesday before the Mississippi game after the Tennessee blowout. Just really got some things ironed out. Came in again in the Mississippi game, blew Mississippi out. Ran up over 600 yards in total offense to 9 for Mississippi. And in this game, which is perennially a dog fight. Blew it open in the fourth quarter.
Blew it open. Get this. In 4 minutes, 8 seconds, Auburn has scored 4 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes, 8 seconds. 28 points. Here's Chris Knapp kicking off for Auburn. Leading 59-27 with 1:03 to go in the game.
I've been in games like that, and you just kind of feel like, let it be over now.
The bus ride back to Tallahassee, too. Here's Keith Ross. He's going to try that kickoff return again from the goal line this time. To the 23, and down he goes. First hit, number 20, Shan Morris, the son of Larry Morris. And there's Pat Washington. On the afternoon, Pat Washington 5 out of 10 for 55 yards, 1 interception. But he's run this offense very effectively and very well today. This is not a passing game. This is the I formation with Bo Jackson, Tommy Agee, Brent Fullwood, Reggie Ware, Greek, Stewart, etc. No doubt it's helped this Auburn offense, that running game, Tim, by settling on a quarterback.
Oh, yeah. And what they've done basically, too, is they've taken some decisions away from that particular position and just gone back to the basics. I mean, when you've got those kind of running backs, you really don't have to be real fancy.
Here's Keith Ross. Out to the 32-yard line. Gain of about 9. Clock to 48, 47, and counting. Robbie will be glad to check the schedule, move on to the next game after this one here. He did not expect this kind of football game. Florida State will go next back to Tallahassee to play Tulsa, where they'll be heavily favored, then North Carolina, then Miami of Florida, then South Carolina, Western Florida, then Florida. You could figure that Florida State will probably be expected to lose only 1 or 2 of those remaining games. So they could end up the season with 2 or only 3 losses. Auburn goes into a tough schedule, folks. Georgia Tech at Atlanta, Mississippi State here at Auburn, followed by Florida at Auburn, East Carolina at Auburn, then Georgia at Athens, and Alabama at Birmingham. Tough road for these Tigers, but I believe Pat Dye feels his young men are up to it.
Well, I think he's got them on the other side of the mountain now. They've got things rolling, and they're playing well together. There seemed to be, and watching the Tennessee film, there seemed to be some confusion in alignments, and when you've got good people, keep things basic, and I think that's what Pat's decided to do. Just go back to some basic fronts, and don't try to outsmart anybody when you can hammer them to death.
On 2nd down 1, Keith Ross takes the handoff from Ferguson, gets the first down to the 35. Clock running at 30. And Florida State's probably going to run one more play. They stop the clock while they move the sticks out to the 35. And Pat Dye's almost smiling, Tim.
Don't let it out. Don't let it out.
Pat tries not to until the game's over, but I think he's accepted this victory. And what a job he's done since he's come to Auburn.
They've got the 4th winningest program in the country over the last 3 years. And that's a testimony to he and his coaching staff.
He will now be 38-15 as Tiger head coach. Bobby Bowden, 76-30-2 in his 10th season. If you multiply both of those numbers by 2, you can see that they both have about the same winning percentage. They're only, 2 percentage points apart in the all-time list of winning percentage top coaches. Ferguson's going to air it out on the last play, what could be the last play if it's complete inbound. It's incomplete with the clock down to 21 at the 14-yard line. He had looked for John Parks, the freshman, deep. And there's Bo Jackson, who finishes the afternoon with 176 yards on the day. What a great athlete he is. He opened the game on his 3rd carry with a 53-yard run for a touchdown.
He's a horse, but he's not the only one in the Auburn stable. With Fullwood and Curtis Stewart and Tommy Agee. Just keep coming at you and hammering you and wearing you down. They're going to be a hard team to beat.
We have a good team in the booth we'd like to thank. Done a good job again today. Kim Anderson, our spotter. Alex Vergara with statistics. Nicky Nichols with booth management. Skip Ellison, our producer, has done a great job as usual, along with Ken Fauster, director, and our entire crew. We'd like to thank them for excellent video coverage of this game with Florida State and Auburn. The SEC has some real tough ones on their hands today. There are a lot of teams in action. We've given you some of the scores as the afternoon has gone along, and of course we'll have more for you on most of these stations on the football action report after the game. Alabama plays Penn State later this afternoon. Tennessee lost to Florida 17-10. Mississippi State's at Kentucky tonight. Georgia's at Ole Miss in Jackson tonight. And LSU plays at Vanderbilt tonight. That's the SEC schedule for today. And next week we'll have the Tennessee-Alabama game for you at 12:30 Eastern Time from Birmingham, Alabama. Delay of game against Florida State with 15 seconds remaining, so they'll line it up and take the snap again. Chip Ferguson, the freshman, in there, with 17-17 at halftime.
We had some professional help up here, too. Bob brought it on a statistician Charlie Kravitz can help me out up here. Getting his wife Dale back there in old California, horse country.
15 seconds to go in the game. Chip Ferguson lines him back up again for the final play of the game, probably, unless he throws it. Yeah, he's gonna. And he throws it long. That's Philip Bryant. They got a big, deep prevent coverage on it. Number 9, Powell, was back there along with 3, Kevin Porter. They've got another play underway. Bobby Bowden keeps throwing this ball down there. I guess, you know, there's some intelligence to this, Skip.
Oh, boy. Did I hurt you, baby? Did I hurt you, baby?
Yeah, Tim. There's some intelligence.
I look like Skip Carey. That's good.
Yes, you do. My sidekick, Skip Carey. There's some intelligence to this on the part of Bobby Bowden in that in a close ball game, when you got to be throwing it late like this with a prevent defense, it doesn't hurt to have some opportunities for your young man to try these plays. Some guys would just have folded it up and got out of town, but not Bobby Bowden. Trailing 59-27. This could be the last play. Tanner Holloman. And that's the last play of the game as Tanner Holloman goes down. The final score, Auburn 59, Florida State 27. Auburn is now 1-12, lost 1, and tied 1 with Florida State in what, after next year, when they do not play, will become a long-term, ongoing series between these two schools and will prove to be one of the great rivalries in the country. We thought it would be that today, and indeed it was, for about 3 quarters. But Bo Jackson and company just gave the Florida State Seminoles more than they could handle. Florida State self-destructing with 9 turnovers. This is Turner Network Television.
When you were born, you had no idea how fierce the competition was going to get. All those eager achievers, determined to win the race for success. Being good isn't good enough anymore. To earn and keep your piece of the pie, you need an unfair advantage. A new way to make the most of your special talents and creativity. Hard work and ambition alone aren't enough to keep you moving up. Introducing Amiga, the first personal computer that gives you a creative edge. The computer with better color graphics, more speed and power than any other at its price. The only computer that lets you work on up to 4 things at once and makes every one of them more creative. If you want a better chance of winning the games you play today, you need Amiga, the first personal computer to give you a creative edge.
Close games between Tennessee, Florida, Virginia, Clemson, and Kansas, Iowa State. We'll have all the scores and highlights coming up next on the Red Man Report.
Final score, Auburn 59, Florida State 27. 872 yards of total offense in this game. 553 from Auburn. Bo Jackson gets 176 yards on the day and 2 touchdowns. Next week, we'll be at Legion Field in Birmingham for the Tennessee Volunteers and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Hope you'll join yours truly, Bob Neal and Tim Foley, along with our TBS sports crew on most of these TNT stations. Today's game has been brought to you by AC Delco, the smart parts, and by Gulf, the station with one low price, cash or credit, and by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer.
Also brought to you by Coors Light. There's no slowing down the silver bullet. by the Commodore 128 personal computer, a higher intelligence at a lower price. And by Delta, serving more than 100 cities in the U.S. and overseas. Delta gets you there.
And now stay tuned for the football action report coming up on most of these stations.